This week in news, we cover a variety of stories. Extra, extra, hear all about it.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast where one of the hosts is a bad business person and sends feet pics for free. I'm the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater if you're on Twitter or Twitch, and joining me is twitch.tv/LMJ the Hitman, Landen.
Yo, what's up? That was a weird intro.
Yeah, and for the bad businessman, let's go to Twitch's graveyard, Gavin.
I fucking hate you. As soon as I heard you start talking, I was like, God damn it, I know what he's talking about.
Oh, I do not.
He's telling me I'm his ride to work because he doesn't currently have a vehicle or anything. So he was letting me know that, very courteously letting me know that he was not going to be going to work today. And explained to me via pictures, one of his feet is swollen like a balloon.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
This is less sexual than I thought.
Yeah, and I sent normal foot for comparison of the bad foot.
Okay.
Multiple people have made the comment of feet pics for free to me. I was like, God damn. Because my little brother made that comment. My buddy Mills made that comment.
Oh, yeah.
When I told Danielle about it, she goes, I think you're just being a baby. I was like, I got pics for proof. She's like, you keep your dirty pics. I was like, damn, if somebody free feet pics and they just insult you. She goes, well, you didn't say they're free. She was like, but I bet Dean likes like those. I was like, oh, that's a good point. I should probably tell Dean.
Oh, no.
And so then there's that. So, yeah, I've just been sending out feet pics for free, man.
Hey, it's okay. I've been sending dick pics to you for free.
Oh God! What are those dicks? Is that what that was?
Yes, those were muscle dicks.
I don't know what muscle dicks are.
Yeah.
What is
Is this the food, like muscles, the food?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
my brain's like,
I just looked up weird animal penises on Google, so that's my search history, and I go, oh, this one's kind of weird, and I just send it to Gavin. I do it periodically. I've also sent him an echidna penis.
Yeah. Echidna penis is 4 heads, by the way. It's very weird looking.
Interesting.
Yep.
The more I know.
This just went from the XofPlays to National Geographic.
Yes. But fun fact, muscle dicks are twice the size of the muscle themselves. They're hung.
All right.
Anyway. This is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, November 20th, 2022. If you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefingroom. Let's get to some news. This week we're not having a bad story, but it is a kind of a gross one. Not gross as in, muscle dicks, but gross as in we hate NFTs. PlayStation just published a patent that suggests that they are actively exploring NFTs. It was filed last year, but published just recently. And the intention is to verify the authenticity of game assets used by pros and content creators to buy, sell, or rent. And in the notes for this patent, it says, Guild players are multiplayer video games gain popularity in matches or tournaments, which are often live-streamed or otherwise broadcast to numerous viewers. Likewise, well-known players often live-stream or otherwise broadcast gameplay of single-player or multiplayer video games, for instance, in which players perform or attempt speedruns, in-game challenges, multiplayer matches, or other gameplay activities. Some players who are particularly skilled or charismatic can develop large followings of devoted fans, and like fan followings for famous athletes, singers, actors, or other celebrities. Also in the notes it says, individuals often find it meaningful to own or use unique physical items related to respected celebrities or activities. For example, fans of skilled baseball players, such as Babe Ruth or baseball in general, often seek to purchase and own baseballs autographed by Ruth, baseballs hit by Ruth, and important baseball games, or trading cards depicting Ruth and the like. So, PlayStation NFTs.
No, dude, no. I understand that the only reason I somewhat understand why this gets talked about is because the biggest moneymaker in the world right now is the video game industry. It makes the most money in the world.
Yes.
So because of that, if there's some kind of new technology, obviously the thing that makes the most money is going to dive into it head first because they have the money to do so. So if there's another way that potentially in the future, even if it's 10, 15, I'm hoping 20, 30 years down the road of somehow it'll be a currency, they're going to invest in it and put money into it potentially, or at least understand it. I just don't like. I think anytime this is ever mentioned or talked about, it's just so far down the road, and it sounds gross and disgusting. And maybe it is something we should pay attention to because of the potential fears of micro, just getting money from us from another way of getting money from us. That sounds awful, but it is so fucking far away, and I don't like hearing it. I fucking hate NFTs.
Yeah. All right, Gavin, what about you, dude? What do you think?
Just no.
Yeah.
Just no. Listen, no.
So, like, I want to address a couple things real quick. As far as their example of, like, Babe Ruth, that is such a niche audience as well. Like, you hear about collectors of sports memorabilia all the time, but really, it's not that big. Most people are like, yeah, I'll take a jersey. You know, it doesn't have to be a jersey worn by the player. I just want to support my team in some way. It's a very niche thing to actually collect sports memorabilia. It's not as common as they're making out to be. And then also, you know what? I know plenty of people that have use skins that, guess what? You can just buy those skins from the game store. You know, you don't have to have it, be a thing where they're like, oh yeah, we're going to create this all new skin, and then, we can have our fans buy, sell, or rent their version of the skin. Most content creators, they start off small, and so they're just using a basic-ass skin, which they make it their own, Not everyone's out there with a unique Minecraft skin like Dream, But as far as NFTs in general, here's the thing that, I've made it very clear I don't like NFTs either. But one of the most tech savvy and tech forward industries out there, whether you want to talk about it or not, is the porn industry. The porn industry is always hopping in front of tech trends because they know they've got to get ahead of that kind of thing, just based on how they do business. they are staying the fuck away from NFTs. If they're that forward thinking with tech and they're like, no, that's saying something. That's saying maybe this isn't as forward as we think. So the fact that the porn industry is staying away from NFTs is not a good sign for NFTs.
Good. Hopefully they can dwindle away and go away forever. I'm sure a new version of it will come up at some point, but maybe that's when I'm old and I don't care.
Just for clarification, we're talking about NFTs going away, not porn going away, right?
Both.
Whoa!
Hot take.
I don't know that I could live without porn, if I'm being honest. I failed No Nut November first day.
Of course you did.
Don't play those games.
PlayStation should really take a page from the book of Kojima. Hideo Kojima's desired expansion. This was him speaking at the Anan Awards, which is a Japanese video game awards thing. He expressed his desire to expand into music and film. Kojima Productions actually just recently formed a TV and film studio in Los Angeles. And in his bio on social media, he talks about his love of movies, but music isn't really anything he's talked a lot about. And if you're worried about Kojima games, don't worry, there are several in the works too. So
I'm excited about the games, that's for sure. I don't know about his music. I'm a little nervous about his music. He has this huge audience of, gamers. Like, all right, let's listen to his music, and it ends up being trash. That sounds tragic. That sounds real. I know you can make games, but I don't know if you can make music, bro.
What about film? Did you watch a Hideo Kojima movie?
I would for sure watch a Hideo Kojima movie, for a fact. Maybe he's holding the goat. He'll make a movie, he'll make his own music for the movie, and then he'll make a video game based off his own movie.
Yeah. I'll be honest, just based on the stories in his games, I think his movies would be as out there as some of the Tarantino films.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, they're definitely, his games are off the wall. I can't imagine what his films would look like. Speaking of games, God of War is outselling many other games in the UK. Just a note, before we get really into it, this is exclusive physical sales, so the other games could have passed God of War in digital, and we wouldn't know because most of these companies don't share their digital numbers. 82% of the God of War copies were for PS5. It is the fastest selling God of War game in the UK ever. And in the same amount of time, it has sold faster than COD, Pokemon Arceus, and Elden Ring. And it was nominated for 10 Game Awards, which is the most nominations for the Game Awards this year.
Oof. Well, that is crazy. I think what has happened is because the people who own PS5s right now, for the most part, the people who own PS5s right now are the hardcore fan base, and there's a lot of PS5s sold for the most part, but as far as the hardcore fan base been waiting on this game. So I think it was going to be a no-brainer. This game was going to sell. I'm surprised that it's such a large portion of its sales. I figured that the PS4 people that don't have PS5s would just buy it anyways. Or maybe they're waiting for the holiday. Who knows?
I mean, 18%'s not necessarily anything to gawk at for the PS4, but it definitely shows that there are PS5s out there. It's just like, what was it, last year, Ratchet and Clank? It was 10% of PS5s, like the amount of copies that they sold was 10% of the amount of PS5s sold. So you're right, people are out there buying PlayStation games regardless.
Yep. Kind of like
Um,
the Switch, whenever like it was on its first year, like it was only on its first year, but these games attach rate, like it was like 7 out of 10 people or 8 out of 10 people are buying a Nintendo exclusive every time it releases. The amount of people who owned a Switch is
yeah,
probably somewhat similar when it comes to the PS5s.
I mean, I want to say it's still like in the 60 percentile for people that own a Switch and own Mario Kart.
Yeah, yeah, that's insane.
Mario Kart still is like, that's crazy. Um, so our last story, actually, where are we at? Wow, we really flew through those, didn't we?
Oh wow.
Yeah, because our editorials, which you can find on patreon.com/thebriefingrooms, was like 18 minutes. So we've been going for less than 20 minutes on this stuff. So I can find some more stories. But first, Phil Spencer wants to hit the $99 to $129 price point for its game streaming device. So he announced that they chose to deprioritize development of Project Keystone because it was struggling to make it cost effective. Now, for going back, Project Keystone was basically like a Apple TV or a Google Fire Stick, but played Xbox games. And it was supposed to come out later this year or early next year, but they said it worked well. They said it was very good at operating, but was too costly to produce. And what he said was, with Keystone, we're still focused on it, and when we can get the right costs. But when you've got a Series X at $299, and like during the holidays, you'll see some price promotion, you'll obviously have Series X higher. I think in order for a streaming-only box to make sense, the price delta to S has to be pretty significant. Essentially saying, if we're only selling the Series S at $300, it needs to be less than half of that.
Okay.
And that makes sense because it's one of those things where, kind of like how the Steam Deck has been doing their thing, where it's like, well, it's only if they priced it at like $200 for this streaming device, you could go, well, it's only $100 more, and then we have a hard drive, and it runs natively. So, do we really need to buy the streaming thing when we could just spend $100 more? So that's their thinking, and I can see that line of thinking. It's the same way with how movie theaters price, like, there's a big difference between small and medium, but the price difference between medium and large, for a drink is not that much. And people are like, oh, I get a really good deal if I buy the large. Let's face it, none of us drink the larges. Like, we don't finish that in the movie theater.
Nope.
So we could have just saved a couple bucks and gotten the medium, but we never do. So how do you feel about them waiting until they can sell it at a cheap price point?
I mean, it's not a device that's a necessary device to be in the market right now. Like, it would just be like a if you like it, if it helps you, if it fits your needs thing. They have plenty of devices right now that can run Games Pass, including PC, and they're 5 iterations of consoles: the Xbox One, the One S, the One X,
Mhm.
the Series S, and the Series X. And all those devices are range from $500 to like I'm sure $180, $200. So it's not too expensive. I understand the
Yeah.
ability, what they're trying to offer with this device is different. But you know, to be able to play Xbox games is really easy right now, like extremely easy, and that will be an easier way. But if it needs to wait to be cheaper, I don't see any problem with that. I don't see any problem with that at all.
I noticed you forgot a platform that you can play Game Pass on.
What's that?
Samsung Smart TVs.
Oh yeah, 2022 and moving forward, all Samsung TVs can be have Game Pass already on it operating system. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And they said they're going to work on getting that onto other smart TVs too. So you wouldn't necessarily need it if you make enough deals with these other TV companies. So, what do you think about this, Gavin?
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. I kind of dissociated for a little while there.
It's just a Xbox device that's going to be able to just be for just streaming the Game Pass. So they pushed it back so they can make it cheaper later on. And we were just talking about how it's not necessarily needed to be released right now. It's not a big hot item that people are looking for right now. I think there is an audience for it, but it's not a large audience. I'm sure that audience won't mind waiting a little bit to make it cheaper.
Yeah. Man, I just opened up a tab to look at news stories, and after we started recording the podcast, a news story came out, and I don't know how I feel about it.
What kind of news story?
It's about Xbox Live.
Okay.
Xbox Live, as of today, is now 20 years old.
Oh, I was playing Halo 2 online with Xbox Live. My gamer tag back then was because it was me and my two brothers. We had to come up with a name we could all agree on. Jonesy Boys.
Yeah.
With Z's. With Z's.
Yeah. Did you ever try out the having the XX at the beginning and end? It's like
whenever I made my first Xbox Live for 360 account, I shuffled through so many different names, and there was some XXs going on, and I managed to not do the XXs, but I did manage to make an embarrassing gamer tag.
Yeah, my gamer tag is almost identical to what it was on the 360. It's just when I was like, you know what, I'm going to start recording myself playing, I'm going to start streaming, I was like, I should probably change my gamer tag because my gamer tag was denied and then my birthday. And I was like, probably not the best idea if I'm going to be showing my gamer tag to the world. So now it's now denied XOP, which is the XofPlays, which this podcast goes on to.
Whoa. Yeah, I was the youngest in my family. They nicknamed for me, even though I am the tallest of them all. His nickname is Tiny. They call me Tiny my entire life. So when I made my gamer tag, I named myself Tiny Killer 187. And any lobby I went into, and of course I'm playing Call of Duty or Halo, Tiny Killer, is that the size of your penis? Whole lobby. And here I am to back it up with, hey guys, stop making fun of me. I'm not tiny. I'm not tiny at all. That was my voice. It didn't help. That didn't help.
You're the youngest in your family?
To what?
So you're the youngest out of you and your siblings?
Yeah, I have a 44-year-old brother and a 40-year-old brother. And I am now 30 years old.
I don't know how that makes me feel because I'm the oldest in mine.
I'm also the oldest. So, here's an interesting story. I did see this on social media as well. There's a God of War Easter egg, and it says Parappa the Rappa is the history's greatest musician.
Nice.
So in the sequence, it's Mimir talking to Kratos, and he goes, "Brother, I've heard stories about your homeland, but I also heard you once fought in a tournament." And Kratos goes, "Yeah, I fight in a lot of contests." And Mimir goes, "I heard that you did battle with beasts, scoundrels, princesses, the undead, automatons, and history's greatest musician. That's not true, is it?" And Kratos goes, "I would not speak of this." Which is a reference to PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Oh.
PlayStation All-Stars. By the way, you said Parappa, and it reminded me of a TikTok that I'm going to just share on the Discord.
Okay, yeah. So, how do you feel about such an obscure video game reference in God of War Ragnarok? And 2, how do you feel about Parappa the Rappa being the history's greatest musician?
Don't know about the history's greatest musician,
Yeah,
but that whole
yeah.
fucking PlayStation All-Stars reference, dude, I played the absolute dog shit out of that game. I played that game so much.
Well, to be fair,
And-
a lot of people consider it dog shit. So. There are a lot of
The
people.
game was fucking awful. It was a terrible game, but I loved it. I played it so fucking much.
Yeah.
Like, I
There
never
was-
like went online and went against other people. I would just fucking play with my buddies or my little brothers, and we just fucking just be making jokes and shit. It'd be great.
That reminds me and my siblings played a lot of a really shitty multiplayer game, but we loved every minute of it, and that was 007 Nightfire. That that multiplayer. We played so much of that. We knew all of the like intricacies of the maps. Like, if I could have ever been a esports player in any game, it probably would have been 007 Nightfire. And I think the default that game is so outdated that I think they did have an option for dual stick, but I think the default was GoldenEye controls where you had to stop and, you know, in order to look up and down.
Right.
Man, those were some times.
Those were definitely times.
Definitely time. Times. Ooh, do we we can talk about this. Xbox proactively suspended up to 4.8 million users in the first half of 2022. So let's see, it removed let's see, where is it? They started actually, so they've been doing removals based on players reporting other players for poor activity.
Mm-hmm.
But they've actually started actively searching for accounts that violate their, you know, TOS, which includes a lot of bots, which I've gotten that are like, "Hey, sexy, you can find me at this webcam site," and it's like, "Nah, I'm good, thank you."
Okay.
I've gotten like 6 people sending me stuff like that, and it's like, I'm good.
I love those fucking bot accounts that send me shit because I'll fucking text back and like just say the most off the wall, horrendous fucking like FBI is knocking down your door shit, and they'll just
Right.
keep going with their little fucking like thing, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
I do that with text messages because you know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, why would you respond to that text?" Now they know your phone works. They get notified if it's an incorrect number. They already know your phone works by the time they send out the text.
Yeah.
So I have fun with it with the text. So I'll text back and just go back and forth with them. And yeah, I'll say some stuff that if I said to a person that actually exists would definitely get me into some trouble, but I know they don't exist. And they'll just respond and be like, hey, I know you're just talking about me, but let's get back to you. The bots always want to focus on you. If you ask them any questions, they'll be like, oh, so how are your dogs? It's like, I never said anything about my dogs. And I asked you, how old are you? What? I ain't out here trying to get hit on by a minor, you know?
Nope.
And they're like, don't worry about it. Let's focus more on you. It's like, no.
I'm good. I'm good anyway, but like, I don't want the FBI to be like, huh, this person was getting texts and this number belongs to a minor. Because they just spoof numbers. They just...
Yeah.
So it very well could be like the number you're receiving it from could actually exist. So, the new Pokemon games are coming out soon, and the Pokemon Company warns that it could block online play for users trading modified Pokemon. Although it says players who trade unintentionally won't be affected. I don't know how you determine intentional and unintentional when you don't even have a way of, voice chat or anything. They've threatened this before, previously with modified Pokemon. But a lot of their storage services won't allow that kind of thing anyway, because like if you transfer a Pokemon from the DS to Pokemon Home, so then you can transfer it to the Switch, like it'll be like there's something wrong with this Pokemon. Like they already have features in place, so it'd be very difficult. Because the other thing is, yes, the Switch has been jailbroken, and there are already Switch emulators and ROMs. It's still very difficult to hack. It's not like there's Game Sharks existing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Sure. Whatever you say, Pokemon Company. Oh, boy. So, I think that's pretty good episode. We made it through significantly more stories than I thought. That was like 7 or 8 stories. Normally we go through 4, so that's pretty good run. And we had a nice chunky meaty editorials. So you can again check that out at the briefing room on Patreon. So, if you liked or didn't like this podcast, make sure to do all the things like hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and hitting the bell at the XofPlays on YouTube, or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. I was about to say Mike-linded, and that's not right. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. And I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefingroom, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.